Thanks, Debbie.
Pleasure. As I say, welcome all. I think were we going to start, Jane, with, do you want to do the reel of pictures, or shall I go to the vision and mission first?
Oh, the vision and mission.
Okay. We'll start in the proper way. Debbie Tankard has very kindly said that she'll read the vision and mission for us.
Right. Yes. Okay. Vision. Soroptimist International is committed to a world where women and girls together achieve their individual and collective potential, realise aspirations, and have an equal voice in creating strong, peaceful communities worldwide. Mission. Soroptimists inspire action and create opportunities to transform the lives of women and girls through a global network of members and international partnerships. Okay.
Wonderful, thank you, Debbie. So there are obviously some members who were able to be at Jean's funeral, but many of our visitors who couldn't, but also some members who couldn't. And some people have seen the pictures that we've got and some people haven't. So we thought we'd just do a bit of a catch up so everybody is in the same sort of place. So Jane's going to do a quick slideshow of the pictures that we've got on our website.
Hey,
yes. Done.
Woohoo! Have you got there? Oh, great.
Yes,
Great.
we have now.
Okay. So
wow.
There's Jean, Jolly, and Stella.
I can see that, yeah.
Oh.
And then this was at the Rose Garden. And that's well, what was it? Dilly.
Oh,
Dilly.
Goodness, yes.
Dilly, yeah.
That's Alison, isn't it? Alison.
that's Alison Sutherland.
Yeah.
It is Alison.
And then this was when we did the pink in London.
Dara will recognise herself from that.
Yeah, I do.
And then Hillary.
Hillary.
Yeah. Gosh, is that Hillary? Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's
I love Jill's
sunglasses.
Yeah, Jill's glasses look fabulous, don't they?
Amazing. And I've got my tiara on, obviously.
Obviously.
And that was one of our fashion shows that we did at Grove House.
All right.
When it was Grove House.
Mm.
I think all there's Jill on the. I can see Jill some. India at the back.
Yeah, I can see Jill as well.
Now this was we went to the the Museum of Transport in Luton. And we all there was a dressing up box and we got a Roman chariot. It's Hillary, Janet, and Jean and I were dressed in togas. And one of our usual carol singing
station.
lovely picture.
Yeah,
Jean, I don't think she hardly missed a carol singing, did she? Neither of those Jeans. Neither of the Jeans, actually.
She always used to do the booking with the station, didn't she?
Yeah. And it's not very big, that one, but that was when we went to with Judy Faraday down to the John Lewis Garden.
Lexford.
Yeah.
Do you see my husband in the background?
Yeah, you can see.
Oh, yes.
In the background. And Mary Barkis is there on the front row as well.
Yeah, there's Mary.
Oh, yes.
Hardly see it, so tiny.
I know, sorry. And this was we were International Women's Day on the Millennium Bridge in London.
Yes, Jill.
Yeah, we were a bit younger then. This was tree planting at the Arboretum with Christine Farrington and Laura Redhead is there.
Yep.
And this was we were all round at my house, and I can't remember why now. But anyway,
was it a clothes swap thing?
It might be. It was something important. Anyway, there we all are.
Yes.
Which is lovely. Helen, you'll still be getting over your chemo then, right? Oh.
Yes.
And it's Helen Francis. Anyway, we got a good crowd in that photo.
Yeah.
one of our, Jean was, that's why we needed the Christmas tree decorations back, because that's one of our,
Yeah, they're still in my car. I'm going to give them to Helen eventually.
it's one of
I
our,
need to have a passenger in my car. I'll take them
I
out.
was going to say, have you got any space in your car?
Well, I haven't taken, obviously, I haven't taken any passengers
this
since I
was,
picked them up.
No.
this was a Munster visit.
Is that Beatrice?
Yeah, that's Beatrice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Jill and Annabelle, we remember then, and yeah, quite a lot of, anyway, crowd. And this was the 70s when this
Oh,
crew,
yes.
this crew were all 70 at the same time.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Had some adventures during the year.
Mm.
And yeah, that's a lovely one with Jean and Christine. I set that
Yes.
one through for Christine. This was doing the car park in Wellingham.
Oh, yes, in
Going
Welling Garden
round the
City.
city.
Yeah.
With a meter.
Yeah.
This was doing the books, one of our bookstores when we did it in St Albans Market
Mm.
Day.
Yeah.
They're very well behaved wearing our tabards, weren't they?
Mm.
And this was read for endometriosis, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Endometriosis. And obviously Dr. Karambu Rangera was over with us.
Mm.
But all in,
There's Rita in there, just behind a meter there as
Yeah.
well.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, I can see
Much more
Christine in that
recent.
one.
yeah. Jean's
And
right
Jo-
back with the blue
Oh,
behind.
I'm in that one. Yes.
Yeah.
and Joan Williams. Wow.
This was we were doing the University of Hertfordshire
Mm.
awards, and that's how Jean actually got to know Rita Andrews, because we were doing the engineering award in memory of Peggy Hodges, and these were girls who picked up the award that year, and Jean was really president and had a gong on. And that was that was a professional photo. That's why I clipped that one for the
Yes.
words to use. It's a
Really
lovely
good one.
photo. And this was us trying to sell African
Oh, yeah.
children.
This was the Christmas
It's got-
market, wasn't
on the
it?
Christmas
I remember that.
and nearly freezing today. And I think Hillary had turned up with some booze in hot toddies we had. And
About the only thing that kept us going.
it was Hillary's birthday, so she came
Oh,
with
it was. You're right. Yes.
hot toddies and birthday cake.
Mm.
This is archery in St Albans. So we were having a tree walk, but
Doing a tree walk, weren't we?
that is our archery.
It's an archery.
Yeah.
Archery. It's archery.
It's the Soroptimist tree.
I didn't know you had a tree in St Albans. Is
Yeah,
that
yes.
Christmas
We
tree?
do have a tree, and there's a photo of Eileen Slope planting it actually.
And we've got another one in the park.
We have now got another one, yes,
Mm.
as of last week.
No, the one in the park.
Last year.
Last year we got one in the
Oh,
park.
Debbie in
Oh,
that
okay.
one.
Yeah.
Here you go, Debbie.
Yeah.
I don't know why I've got that one in. There's Jean's bottom anyway. There we go.
Yeah.
I thought this was a lovely one with Jean.
Oh, that's a nice one. Yes.
And
Yes, that's
Hillary,
nice.
and we were toasting Hillary's OBE.
All right. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, quite right too. And this was when Karambu was
Oh,
teaching
yes.
his African headwear, and
Oh, yes.
Jean was in hysterics. Obviously, it's a really good picture. More carol singing, of course. That
Yeah.
must have been the carol singing coat that Jean was wearing to keep warm.
Yep. Yep.
Very good. And this was her coffee man from the tea bar.
Oh,
at-
yes,
at the
yes.
court. She invited him to come and tell us all about coffee, and it was really interesting. As Jean knew it would be.
Mhm.
And this was all, we'd had a health talk that evening, I seem to remember.
Yes, that rings a bell, but I'm trying to think what it was about.
That's
And,
funny.
About wasn't that the dementia evening?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dementia Friends, would it have been?
Yeah, it could be.
And that was a lady. Or it was a
lady.
on the
Oh,
corner.
we had
And
one
then-
more recently.
This was one of our Abbey Theatre events, which Jean was always very keen on getting us on. We did really well getting allocated theatre event, and that was largely down to Jean. This was Jean giving a speech, very important. Can't remember where we were.
Wow.
This was the good old Wesley's. So we're supporting the refuge and doing the coffees at Wesley with there's Joan in her element.
Lovely picture.
Yeah,
It is. That's a smashing
Yes, it is.
picture.
and Alison always helped before she moved away.
Yes.
This was our 60th when Jean was a big part of organising our friendship weekend. So we've got our visitors there from Osaka and Munster and Warsaw.
And Margaret's
And
there.
Margaret in the background.
Margaret's lurking there as well when she came to California. So it's a lovely picture.
And Jen from Region.
Yeah, and I think we've all been we're all looking pleased. I think Denise has awarded us little gifts. I think.
Yes, I think,
Yes.
I think that was probably a handover.
Something for anyway.
Oh, was it at one of the AGMs when
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
It was
yes,
amazing when we had the
president
AGMs in Red.
a decade on there?
Yeah. And this was Dragon's Apprentice Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Jean
yes.
again at the university and Jenny.
Nice picture of Jenny too.
Yeah, it is. It's a good one, isn't it?
And this was Di. There's your Ed when he gave his talk. And Rita there as well. Joan, lovely in pink. And
Sally the bear.
Yes.
Yeah, the bear was there. Sally Bear was there. And Jean's sneaking her head underneath the bunting there. We were doing the Highland Gathering. That was just a raffle at the Highland Gathering in Harpenden for the lions. And that's Jean at the theatre. Yes.
That's a lovely picture.
Oh,
A nice one, isn't it?
I like that one.
Yeah, that's a nice.
And her jewellery as well.
Big beads.
So
Big beads.
Yeah.
Big beads as a trademark.
Yeah, it's definitely.
More carol singing, and the coach turned up again.
Oh, it's Amanda.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yes.
it's me.
And look, and Jules the dog made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this was when we went when they reopened the museum and gallery, and there was selfie frame, and we could go and see our club name on the wooden panel.
Brick.
Yeah.
Wooden panel, and this was toilet twinning in the Abbey toilets.
Yeah.
We never have found out where those certificates have got to because they're not in the toilets now.
Well, they were at one point.
Yeah,
Right at the end, you couldn't see them very well.
Jean was going to try and find out what happened to them, so we need to pick that one up again and find out what happened to our toilet twinning certificates. But anyway, there we are, picture in the toilets. Now, this was the Friendship Link visit from our Warsaw ladies.
Yeah, I think that must have been in my house. I recognise it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jean's there, and this is when Jean and I went out with my mum, went down to visit Beatrice for a couple of days, and you can just see Ruby sticking her head out of the
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Beatrice's bag. Yeah.
and I'm thinking what my mum took that picture, so well done, Mum.
Well done. It's optimum.
And there we are, another one of our Christmas trees.
Christmas trees.
Very good.
Is that Madeline?
Yeah,
Yes,
Madeline.
yeah.
And then more coffee at Wesley's, and this was Jean's the 100 laps for the Soroptimist 100th anniversary, 100 laps of the lake, and this Jean's great. Jean had the idea, and then she said, "Why do I keep coming up with ideas? Because all that happens is that I finish up organising them." And that is exactly what happened. Jean suggested it and then finished up organising us all. But it was such a good thing to do. And there's Jean's friend Mary is just over Helen's shoulder there.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
My baby Becca is there.
Yeah.
With her adopted dog and
Yeah.
my baby.
I know, it was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a aside from the fact that the path was flooded.
Until it rained right at the end, it was really super.
Mm.
And there we go. This was another AGM when we're wishing ourselves a happy birthday.
Yeah.
And that was after the repair fair and plant sale, and Jean was there at the United Reformed Church.
Mm-hmm.
With a plant, I think.
This was Jean's last refuge
Wow.
delivery of gifts in 2023.
I can see the essential Yorkshire tea bags.
Yeah.
There they are. Lots of tea. The tea bags are there. And there's another big bag of tea bags. There we go.
Oh my God.
That was the check that year. And this is what they put in the St Albans Times. That
That's such a lovely picture. That
yeah,
one.
there was a really nice piece that they did as well.
Yeah, they really did her proud.
This was at the Dublin. This is my favourite picture from the Dublin convention when Jean came to Dublin and we met up with Hillary, and I just think that they are. I don't know what they're talking about, but it's clearly hilarious.
It's obviously very amusing.
They're having a lovely time.
And this was when
so many of those photographs, as you go through them, Jean is laughing. That big laugh.
It's also the person with the widest smile.
Yeah.
This photo is when the our Munster folk came over. It was the last thing that Jean organised, the big thing that she organised was the Munster visit. And there she is with her trademark red boots. Which have been mentioned more than once in dispatches by people commenting on meeting Jean. And she was so in love with those red boots. She just thought,
right,
because she liked being different, and she just thought they were fabulous.
She carried it so well.
Yeah, that's Jean in St Albans with her red boots. That's and this is last week when we were able to dedicate that beautiful cherry tree in the St Albans Civic Garden and put the plaque in her memory there. So with that's Helen and Merrill, Jean's great friend Merrill, who can't be with us this evening. And there's the motley crew that were there for the, lovely, really lovely gathering to dedicate the tree. And the tree is just over Janet's shoulder, between Janet and Zoe. And it was lovely. And there it is. There's our Jean. And there's the plaque.
Oh,
beautiful.
And I think that's it.
I'm in St Albans Court tomorrow, so I shall go and check.
Go and have a look. It's round the corner.
do go
it's
and
not
have a
in the
look.
main wall garden. It's just round the corner.
I'll go find it.
We've got
I'm so
Sylvia with us.
Welcome,
Hello,
Sylvia. Lovely to see you.
Brilliant.
I'm so grateful, Jane, that you take so many pictures.
Yes.
Because you don't realise
and
as
then
the time
Barbara
is.
as well. Hello, Barbara. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, welcome.
I joined late, but I'm enjoying the photographs.
You're very, very welcome. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you.
There's a WhatsApp from Beatrice saying she's not going to make it.
Oh, that's
Where
a
are you
shame.
calling from, Barbara? Are you in Canada?
Yes, I'm in Victoria, British Columbia.
Oh,
welcome.
So a long way away.
Yeah. And I think Margaret beats you though, because she's from Chico in California. I think
a few more miles, right?
We won't fight about it.
No, I was going to say. Welcome everybody who's here.
Hopefully the photos. I think there was a few of us were commenting as we were going through them. They were bringing back some lovely memories for us.
Yeah. And you'll have missed Barbara earlier on. I said Janet Tansley and I were lucky enough to go over to Jean's flat this afternoon. To have a look through some of her photograph albums.
Oh, yes.
So I've taken pictures of some of the pictures that were there, and obviously I've had email conversations with you, but didn't know what you looked like. But I've now got some pictures of you. But it's lovely to see you, and it's lovely to have Sylvia and Axel joining us as well. That's smashing. Those were a few pictures to sort of prompt a few memories and give us opportunities to chat. I'm just going to read quickly. There were some of our members who were able to go to Jean's funeral, but not all of our members were able to be there. And obviously, you lovely friends who are from a considerable distance away weren't able to be there. So I'm just going to read you. I did there was a eulogy, which was about Jean's earlier life and sort of covered the whole of her life at the funeral. But I did just a few words about her as a Soroptimist at the wake afterwards. So I'm just going to quickly read you those. Jean was a dear friend who I met at our Soroptimist club. Jean was introduced to the club in 2000 by her Redbourne friend Brenda Hillier, who later moved to California. Typical of Jean, she and Brenda kept in touch, seeing each other both here and in California pretty regularly, just as Barbara and Jean have done. And a link between Brenda's new Soroptimist club in California and ours was made as a result of their friendship. Connecting was what Jean excelled at. Her warmth and sociability made anyone feel at home, something I've heard much of in the many wonderful tributes I've received since the announcement of Jean's death. I joined the St Albans Soroptimist in 2009 when Jean was club president. She was president twice, the other occasion being in 2004-05. And as many will know, her second husband and soulmate, Alan, tragically died that year. So Jean felt she wanted to have another proper go when she was able to focus. And the club benefited hugely as a result. So Jean's second, I joined Soroptimist in Jean's second presidency. Jean brought all of her warm personality and her professional expertise, which she gained whilst working at a high level in accountancy. She brought both of those to bear for the benefit of our club and later for our region. Jean embodied the vision and mission of Soroptimist International, women working together to transform the lives of women and girls, and she implemented it with style and passion. She participated actively in national conferences and didn't lose her enthusiasm for the bigger picture, attending the International Convention in Dublin in 2023. And as the visitors who are on our Zoom call today will attest, she was very, very involved in our links with our friendship clubs around the world. Even though our organisation is an international one, Jean always preferred working locally, throwing herself into local community matters with amazing energy. Jean's fundraising skills were legendary. She enjoyed persuading people to part with their cash, all done with her trademark sense of humour. And she worked closely with many local charities, but particularly with Grove House in St Albans and St Albans and Hertsmere Women's Refuge. And it's lovely to have Liz here, who remembers Jean from her relationships with the refuge. It's been an honour and a privilege for me to be on the receiving end of stories from Jean's many friends. From a childhood friend she was still very much in touch with, to Soroptimist friends across the world, to people she worked with in various charity shops in town. The number of times I've thought, I think Jean's about to retire because she's going to stop. She stopped doing things for Grove House, but then she found the St Francis shop at Marshallswick to get involved in. And then when that was getting complicated, she joined in with Roses Are Red. So she just kept on going, giving and giving. They've all been touched. All of the friends and people who've known Jean have all been touched by her commitment and kindness and her irrepressible humour. They've There have been many comments about her brilliant dress sense and her love of long strings of brightly coloured jewellery, which fitted so well with her tall stature and cheerful nature. No matter what life threw at her, Jean always found a way to laugh and to get on with things, living life to the full. It's the mischievous twinkle in Jean's eye that keeps coming back to me, but she leaves a large Jean-shaped hole in all our hearts, along with some wonderful memories and a great example to follow. I'm sure people have got some lovely stories to share. So do put your hand up if
Debbie's put something in the chat. Debbie, do you want to?
Yeah.
Oh,
Debbie.
yeah, I did. Right, yes. So it won't be as eloquent as that you've just said. So I'll keep it brief. Jean set up a book club for our Soroptimists here in St Albans. She really wanted to get it started, and she set about recruiting members. She had a love of literature, and it was great to read books that Jean had enjoyed. In time, we were all able to suggest books for our monthly meetings, and many lively discussions ensued, some actually about the book we were reading.
Our book club's like that.
True.
Yeah, they all are.
But as Jean herself said, book clubs tend to have a limited life. And after Jean passed, we decided to discontinue the book club. It was fun while it lasted, Jean. That's where we are now. We decided that book club had come to its end. So,
Thank you, Debbie.
Anybody else want to join in?
Yeah.
Yes, Sarah.
Well, as I have had the privilege, honour, and also quite hard work of stepping into Jean's shoes as treasurer, I do often think of her. Even over I don't know how many years have I been treasurer, 4 or 5 years now. And I think of her often as I'm using these spreadsheets, because I base the way I do the accounts, I based exactly on how she did them. And yeah, it was a hard act to follow. I mean, the amount of, when she handed over, the amount of paper she handed over, she copied and kept every email that related to anything financial. And each year for each year there was a file this thick. I'm afraid, I'm hoping I'm doing a good job, but I'm not as good as keeping such detailed records, let's put it that way. But one of the times I often think of her is there are some anomalies in the spreadsheets. And when I copy, sometimes when I paste and copy something, it goes from like a normal size font, and suddenly I copy it onto another account and it just grows. I can't work out what's in this, how it's spread, how it's set up. But every time that I try and paste and copy and it comes out in this huge font, I definitely think of her. When I first joined the club, she was my mentor. And I remember going around there for coffee where she tried to explain to me the structure of Sigby. Frankly, she did say to me, the only way you'll find out is just to be a member.
Yes.
And she was quite right. She tried. And I think all of us who've been mentors have had that experience. But yeah, I forgot. And the photographs show this as well. She was always so smiling. When you look at those photographs and you see everybody smiling, Jean was always smiling more. And that's how I think of her. I think of her that and the large fonts. But yeah, very, very fond memories. I mean, I wasn't close to her, but very fond memories, and going away with her to Munster and to the couple of conferences I went to. Always such good company. Very, very special lady.
Yes, a very, very special lady. You do a brilliant job as treasurer, and taking over from Jean would have been daunting to anybody.
It was very scary.
Yes. But I think I mean, you make a comment that you weren't very close to her, but that's the thing. She was very close to lots of people, but I mean, it came home to me that whoever she came into contact with, she made a connection with, because I got a message from Kerry, and I'm Kerry Trevitt, who was the lady who came to our meeting, and she facilitated when we were looking at the sustainability policy. So that was the second time that Kerry had come, because she joined us when we all met over at the community garden.
That's right. Yeah, she did.
And Jean was there, and it was one of the days when she was having a really tough day and really wasn't quite sure what there was clearly something physically going on. And we were a small group and we were chatting together, but Jean, in her usual way, went and sat and chatted to Kerry, even though she wasn't necessarily feeling particularly wonderful that evening. And she clearly made a connection. And Kerry, when she saw it on Facebook, just messaged and said she was just so sad to hear about lovely Jean. And it's that ability, that ability to go out and chat to almost anybody, and but also to make a connection in the process of doing it was just wonderful about her. I know somebody. Oh, Kat, you said you wanted to say something. I'll come to you in a second, Liz.
Yeah, no worries.
Kat, do you want to?
Oh yeah, no, it's just a little thing from when that year that I was president. Actually, it was a year and a half, I think, in the end. But because we had COVID. But no, I went round and spoke to quite a few of the previous presidents, and Jean was one of the ones, and she was fabulous. She shared with me some of the things that she'd done, very low key stuff as president, and the fun of wearing all the regalia, and if you're how some of the tricks she used to use with wearing it and feeling safe, that she'd stick it on underneath everything else, put her clothes all the time, and then she didn't have to carry it round. But I remember her also saying to me, her big advice on being president was, don't try and do it all on your own. And then she said, and always have an under the bus plan. She said, always make sure everybody knows what you're doing, so that if you can't do it, then it still carries on. But yeah, she was so practical with that.
Absolutely.
And such humour.
Yes. Yes.
But no, that will be my memory of Jean, and her jewellery, and mending her jewellery.
Oh, of course. I'd forgotten you did some jewellery mending for her. How lovely. Thank you, Kat. That's smashing. Liz, do tell us.
Yeah, my relationship with Jean started when she became the link person to the refuge. I had obviously known her for quite some time prior to that, because as a group you have held our hand at St Albans and Hartsmere Women's Refuge for many years. And that means so much to us. And just your involvement, your commitment to us, your interest in what we do. And then Jean was handed the baton of being the link person to the refuge. And I never know whether that's taken as, oh God, we've got to do the refuge, or
no, she volunteered. She volunteered.
Yeah. Who drew the short straw? Do you know? Who's got to collect the tea, coffee, and sugar?
No, Jean volunteered, Liz. We
all right.
You wouldn't
have to wrestle people to
pick
up that role.
But it was absolutely everything, down to the unexpected emails that I would get from her, just checking in and asking how things were if we hadn't had contact. It was her understanding my often warped sense of humour about life in refuge and the challenges as well as the highs. And I think just those pictures that, and I'm not quite sure who said it about how good you are at taking photographs. Just the years upon years of involvement and commitment that she gave with such enthusiasm and grace and knowledge and all of those things, that she has left a big Jean-shaped hole. But I think what is also lovely is the way that this is happening, for starters. This evening's happening, and we're talking about Jean and all the other people that, you know, that I've met in all the time that I've been coming, and the importance of all of those people, and just what a sort of supportive family you are to each other, as well as your cause for supporting women and girls. It's amazing. And I thank you all as much as I thank Jean, and as much as we as an organisation appreciate all of your input and your support. And as I say, if in doubt, we put the kettle on for a cup of tea. And it solves so many issues. So, but thank you to all of you.
Thanks, Liz. That's lovely. And I mean, it was sort of lovely for me that Jean got involved in being your contact, because it just felt so right. But as you say, she's well, we've all been involved with supporting you, and when we've had various conversations about it, we don't quite so much now because we're much more fixed in some ways on what we do. But when we were in the situation of that, we had a president, and the president then had a choice over who their charity was, we would have a conversation, but we would always think we can't not support the refuge. And absolutely can't not. And I mean, if anybody was talking about things, and because I was membership secretary at one point, I would talk to people, and we give tea and coffee and to the refuge, and I'm thinking, do I need to explain that? I don't need to explain that. And I just know what a difference it makes. So I mean, it's lovely to have you on the call, and it's lovely for us to be able to do this. So thanks, Kat, for the idea of doing it. And it's lovely that things have turned out so that we've now got a tree in St Albans, so we can keep remembering Jean.
Somebody did say it could do with a bench. So that you can sit near the tree and have a bit of a moment.
You need to have a chat with Neil Kieran, wasn't he at the Rose Garden with you? Yeah, I think you need to tap Neil Kieran for that one.
Okay,
Great
so
idea,
we need to go back.
Great idea.
Indira, do tell us.
Okay. It's exactly what you just said about Band of Sisters, and Jean was the ultimate, the friendship sister. And it's actually, it's amazing. I remember also connecting. I always remember her connecting with Beatrice to these visits to the V&A, and amazing, connection with the art world, either theater but also museums and the V&A. And so much so that my daughter, who is an artist, she's now following Beatrice, and just you're talking about jewelry, and she wanted originally to be a jewelry designer, but she's had some problems with her hands, but she will be getting back, and she'll probably do ceramics. But it's amazing the connections that Jean and introductions she made helped shape a future artist. So it's really amazing.
That's fantastic to hear. Thank you, Indira. And I mean, I was just thinking when you were saying that, it's so easy to forget that Jean was an only one, because you sort of feel that she just automatically is a family stroke big group person. But no, that's her personality, but she had to learn how to do that with groups of people. Yes, Denise, join in, do.
So I started off wanting to say something following what Kat said, but I'll take a little diversion first. As the coordinator for the peace team, how lovely is it to hear Liz say, "You as a club hold our hand." It got to my heart. I had to put it out there. Coming back to Jean though, Kat has reminded me, I became president very early in my Soroptimist career, thanks to a certain person who shall be nameless but is on this call. And I didn't have the vaguest notion what I was doing. So when it came to the idea of planning a program, I was completely at sea. But Jean put her arm around my shoulder, gave me her template, talked me through it, and was there every step of the way as I gradually gained confidence in what I was doing. And that'll be what I remember more than anything else about Jean.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. You had a very, very short introduction. That's all my fault. But
I didn't name names, Helen.
That's fine. I'll take it on the chest. But I think I certainly found, and I think I've spoken to other presidents of the club who've said, well, we finally began to know what we were supposed to do as president when we were about 2/3 of the way through being president. So the sort of the end of the year was probably really good, but I've no idea what happened before that. But having somebody with a common sense and reassurance of Jean to support you along the way is just out of this world. Janet, join in, do. Janet Tansley.
Yeah, but I think one of my greatest recollections with Jean is, as we've said, is her sense of humour. And I can remember she used to go away on holidays with people, and particularly going away at Christmas sometimes. And I gather that she, Madeline, and some others, 2 years running, went to a place in Colchester, which she described as being like Fawlty Towers. And it was really funny just listening to her telling the stories of things that happened and went on, not only on that holiday, but other holidays she had as well. But one thing I particularly remember her telling me about, and I'm not sure exactly when this happened or where she was, but you know, as we all know, she had breast cancer and had to have her breast removed. But she did, for a time, she had some, I was going to say false breasts, for want of a better way of putting it. But she was telling me of a time when she went swimming somewhere, and apparently one of these false breasts got out of her swimming costume and floated away, and she burst into fits of laughter, apparently. Typical Jean. I mean, when she was telling me, she was laughing away about it. So I thought that was just so typical of her. You know, an awful thing to have happened to her, yet she still saw the funny side of things and made fun of it. And the other thing I was reminded when we saw the picture of she and Hillary in Dublin, that one thing I remember, as you may recall, she and I were in the same hotel, and so we were travelling to the conference together quite a bit. And we got a taxi because we were a fair distance from the conference centre, and I just did the Uber thing on my app. And she said, "Oh, I've never done Uber. I really want to." So I taught her how to do Uber and helped her. And so the next time we did it, she insisted she had to get the Uber. Something went wrong. But I can remember too, after she did it again, and she just kept trying. And I remember sometime after we were back here, she said, "Oh, Janet, you know, I actually ordered myself an Uber. I've done it. You taught me how to do it. Thank you so much. Again, she just made light of it and she seemed so pleased to have done something which to me was just so simple. So yeah, I've got some very fond memories of Jean and going for lunches with her and Madeline. So we always had a good laugh. So that's my main memory of her. Just everything was fun, and she never really took things too seriously when it involved her own life. She seemed to be able to make light of it all, which I think is a great way to be myself. I try to do that myself as well.
Yes. But she did it beautifully, because she could be very serious one minute and at quite appropriate moment, and but then when there was an opportunity, we'd move on, and then we'd back to laughing again. Yeah, it's as I said, the twinkle in her eye is what I shall very much remember. And the red shoes, which have got huge meaning for me because they're Dr. Martens, and my daughter works for Dr. Martens. So they have two sort of connections with me. I always thought it was really interesting that Jean was the person in the club who had more of an understanding than anybody of what having a friendship link was all about, and would always keep those friendships, and was always pushing us to get dates sorted out for visits and other things, and yet she was also the person, and I think that perfectly illustrates that Jean knew what she wanted, knew what she liked, and knew what she didn't like. And she took whatever opportunity was offered. So she was the person who's most devoted to our friendship links. But in terms of the work that we did, local is what she would focus on. So when we were having conversations about some of our international support, it really wasn't. I mean, she would do her best and support things, but her heart really wasn't in it at all. And I always thought that was a really interesting juxtaposition. I mean, we're looking forward, Sylvia, to joining you and your club for your celebrations next year, and that will be really quite hard to do without Jean as part of us. It will be really quite strange. I mean, it will be lovely, but it will be quite.
And then the year after, Helen, it's our 70th, and yeah, we'll have to try and organise our 70th without Jean to help us.
Eek. Okay. I'm going to go in a darkened room somewhere.
Yeah, 2027. It's our
yes, it will be, won't it? It will be. It will be.
On her working with other charities and other groups, she when she was working with Grove House and Rennie Grove, that's where she met Nicola McKinnon, and Nicola finished up with Hearts Young Homeless, and then so Jean made connections all over the place, and then Nicola came to talk to us, and then Nicola came to Jean's funeral as well, because Jean has really made a mark on her life. So there's a huge number of people. That's why it was important to say that she was a community champion and to put that on the plaque, because it's not until you talk to people, and there's so many people that go, oh, I knew Jean, or I met her at the tea bar at the Magistrates, or I knew her when she was in the charity shop, and I knew her. she was everywhere.
Well, you said
and Helen.
Sorry,
Margaret had a.
Oh, sorry,
Margaret. Please do join in.
Carry on, Margaret. Sorry.
Well, it was almost, I was almost ready to cut in just before you went local again, but internationally, she was amazing. And of course, came over to our Chico Club and visited. And my husband and I went to San Francisco and picked her up at the airport. Then we drove her directly to Reno, Nevada, and also to Virginia City, Nevada, which is the old silver mines. And she bought herself a fabulous white turquoise necklace there. So I don't know who's doing her jewelry, but I hope that someone is getting the jewelry on to different people, because it was a extremely expensive and lovely necklace. And as we all remember how she could wear her jewelry. And then we had fun over in Nevada, and then came back to Chico and did things in Chico. And of course, she visited our club, gave a lovely talk about friendship links, and got everyone interested in friendship links. And before taking her to fly back home, she asked for time in San Francisco because it's one of her favorite places to visit. And she wanted to go to Muir Woods. And so this is a huge, big, acres and acres and acres of big trees. And we're walking up the trail. And who comes down the trail except her friend Meryl?
Oh, yes, Meryl told me today. Yes.
Yeah, they knew they would be in California at the same time. But,
Yes.
So of course, we pull off to the side and are chatting with her. And Meryl goes to, what have you been doing? My husband pipes up and says, oh, we've been going to Starbucks. The look on Jean's face was priceless. She does not drink coffee at Starbucks because they don't, because, well, she wouldn't do it in Chico either. It was quite funny. And she took, after her face changed, she looked at my husband and she said, you cheeky monkey. My husband now claims cheeky monkeyness. So every time he does a cheeky monkey, of course, we think of Jean instantly. And my husband, he adored her. We adored her. We got to have lovely meals in her home when we came over and visited Joan. And then the next day, I have a friend in San Francisco who's a San Francisco Soroptimist, and she did a tour for us because she's born and raised San Francisco. Breakfast was Sundays at Ghirardelli Square. We're talking ice cream, we're talking like that. And then we were, of course, driving around San Francisco to see the sights. And one of the roads was blocked by a gay parade. Our car was first in line. My husband's if people know my husband, he's extremely tall. He's in the front seat with Leanne. I'm in the back seat with Jean. Her side of the car is to the parade. My husband and I are freaking out, thinking there's, obviously naked people walking by. And she has rolled down her window and is out the window taking photos and laughing her head off. So Jean, wonderful sense of humor, fabulous, fabulous person. Anytime we got to come to England, we got to spend time with her because she and Joan were good friends. And she is, yes, this Jean-sized hole in my heart is huge.
Thank you, Margaret. That's lovely. And Meryl told Janet and I about that, and I thought, what? Okay.
Don't you just love the cheeky monkeyness of it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I discovered I've got one more thing in common with Jean, because I don't drink Starbucks coffee either. The only place I drink Starbucks coffee because there's no other choices in Japan.
Oh, wow.
But as I say, that's because there is no other choice.
Yeah.
It's lovely. We were lucky enough to have Jean with us over Christmas because Jean one year, and I think it might have been, it will have been around COVID, so it wasn't. Actually, it probably was Christmas 2021. because our daughter was living with us, so there were the three of us, but we couldn't spend time with our son and daughter-in-law because of COVID. And Jean had obviously not, well, I think she might have had plans, but obviously those plans had fallen apart. So I said, come and join us on Christmas Day. And she said, are you sure? And I said, yes, of course. And as you'd expect, it was just a delight to have her with us. And we had a wonderful day, the four of us together. We spent a lot of time laughing about all sorts of things and just having a wonderful time. So we were very lucky.
I think Sylvia.
Yes, Sylvia.
Yeah.
Do join in.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me because I've got some issues with my microphone.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, if it weren't for Jean, I wouldn't know all of you because Jean started the friendship link with our club. Obviously, it must have been 2006, as Jane just found out. And it was with her good friend Irmgard Käbisch from our club, who was president at the time. And Jean came over with a group of 4 or 5 of you to our first friendship link get together, and she was such a lovely person and so open, and it made it really easy to get in touch, to get to know each other. No stiff upper lip, nothing of that sort. So it was really great to get to know her, and through her all the other members of the club, and throughout the years more and more of you. And if it weren't for her and Irmgard, who unfortunately died a couple of years later, which was really a big loss for Jean, because Irmgard and Jean, they were a very good match. They really liked each other a lot. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have gotten in contact with all of you, because we came to the UK quite frequently during Easter vacations with a family. And whenever we were over, I talked to some of you and to Jean, can't we meet up in a pub just to say hi, just to keep in touch? And she always organized some of you, so we kept in contact. And now Axel is very fond of some of your husbands. It was great that we all could meet up in Dublin again, and that even Jean, who was very hesitant in joining in the beginning, I remember, oh, can I make it to Dublin? It was great that you all took her along. And to see her again. And in those days, I thought she was, despite her age, she was really vital. She was following all the discussions very, very enthusiastically. And I really appreciated her friendship. When we came to visit you beginning of, in April last year, we even had dinner at her house with a whole group of people. And she really took all the hassle of preparing it, of course, with the help of some of you, but still offering that, I thought was really great. And all of us who had known her and who stayed with her and who met her, all of us remember as a very, very lovely and friendly person. And if it weren't for her, we wouldn't have had our friendship link. And I'm very glad that we can keep it up, or should keep it up, and we will hopefully see many of you next year for our 50th anniversary. And yeah, maybe in 27 we come over again. Yeah. So thanks to Jean. I was really glad that she started everything with Irmgard in those days.
Thank you, Sylvia. That's lovely. And I had forgotten about the fact that she hosted on that first evening, because I was helping her organize the weekend, and I said, are you sure you want to do it? Thinking, gosh, how much work is that? I mean, it wasn't a huge group of people, but nevertheless. And she said, yeah, no, that's fine. I can do it. It's not a problem. And she just did. And you're quite right that, I mean, apart from the fact that she was really good at organizing things, it was she made that connection and created that link that makes you want to keep doing it again and again. And always, I mean, in sort of latterly, she said to me, I've got a bit unhappy about the fact that I'm the person who always does the telephone calls. People don't always phone me, but she always did. And she was always open to having a chat. And you will have missed Sylvia. I said at the bit, I don't know if you heard, I said at the beginning that Janet and I have had this afternoon looking at some of her photograph albums. And Janet found a picture of Jean when she was probably in her 30s, I think, sat on a chair arm with a telephone in her hand, and what was written on the phone, written on the picture, was "on the phone again." So she obviously did it all her life, and we are all the better for it. So much so.
Got another point, Helen, about how really practical Jean was, you know, people always say when you're ill, they go, "Oh, let me know if I can do anything to help." And she said nobody takes people up on it normally, but she realised that she needed help getting to appointments one of the last times that she was having treatment. So she said, "No, I'm going to take people up on that mere word." So she drew up a spreadsheet. Of course, it was a spreadsheet, and did a rota and said, "All right, you lot, you've all offered to help. Now, who can give me a lift to the hospital? And these are the days that I need lifts." And she sorted out her own rota so that it wasn't too much of a burden on any one person. But it was so Jean, and actually. We had such a laugh on the trips when I took her to the hospital, even though she was going for treatment. We made sure we had a nice lunch as well.
Yeah.
Turned it into an outing.
Well, she never did it. She always got the best value out of everything, didn't she?
And she certainly liked her lunches.
Yes,
quite right.
Yes, Barbara, do join in.
I mean, just picking up on the practical, because I feel a bit of an imposter syndrome here, because I've known Jean for such a comparatively short period of time compared with many of you. But again, the warmth of the welcome, the degree of support was writ large. But the thing that strikes me in recent years was that particular point where she had to give up her car, and focusing on how practical she could be. She didn't debate it for months on end. She felt that the time had come, and she made the decision, and she sold the car very quickly. And I was one of the people who was privileged enough to be able to pick her up and take her from time to time, as Helen often did, and I expect Janet as well, to meetings. And she just got on with it. And so there was no looking back. And the ease with which she would arrange to go all over the place, it didn't stop her doing anything. And I think that, again, was Jean providing a role model, again, for some of us who view the prospect of ever not being able to jump in our cars and drive off wherever we want to. A model that actually there are other routes, and it didn't stop her doing anything. And I remember on one occasion, she met me over in Marshalswick, which is the other side of St Albans, for those of you who don't know. And I'd offered to pick her up, and she said no, she'd be at the shop, the St Francis shop there, and we'd meet, and then we'd go to the fish and chip shop, because she always organised the fish and chips for the quiz night. And I was, with my husband, getting more involved in actually doing the quiz and getting it set up. But Jean was very clear about her boundaries in relation to that. She didn't like quizzes particularly.
No, she didn't.
But she recognised that it was really important. So what she did was to ensure that she got involved with the bit of it that she did like, which was the food stuff. She was happy to be in the kitchen. She was happy to go to the fish and chip shop and organise it and make sure they didn't overcharge us. And I remember her, you know, coming with me specifically because I was going to be doing it the following year, and she wanted to make absolutely sure that I didn't get ripped off and that I knew what I needed to say to them in order to get the best value. But I felt in that sense she was extremely pragmatic as well as practical in her involvement. And sometimes the suggestions she made, you know, like the Christmas trees, like the 100 laps round the lake, they weren't great big grandiose schemes that would give you, you know, great street cred when you were out and about. But actually they were things that we all enjoyed being a part of. And I think sometimes we need more of that fun in our lives. We need more of those things, as well as all the serious stuff that we do and all the help that we give. Sometimes we just need to go on that walk or remember that if you were out with Jean, she made you laugh.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The walks thing, we were all a bit not quite sure about that, but as you say, in the end, it was great fun.
Yeah.
And it was a perfect event. It was absolutely lovely. And I remember talking to her about the quiz and asking her at one point, well, saying to her, you don't need to come, we can organise the quiz. And she said, no, I'll carry on and help organise the kitchen. And of course she didn't sing and really wasn't particularly connected with Christmas things. So the carols at the station would not have been sort of top of her list of things that she would have done, but she joined in with gusto and always used her great capability to attract gentlemen to put money into her and women to put money into her bucket. It was fabulous that she found the things she could do, and she enjoyed it in the process. Great. I'm conscious of time, and I think we could carry on all evening, I'm sure, but we probably need to draw to a close. Thank you everybody for being with us, first of all, but for sharing. It's been lovely to hear stories and to share ideas and stories about Jean. It's lovely. And it's lovely to have you with us. We've got a few club members who are on. We've got a little bit of club business to do. So we'll draw to a close and say farewell to people who aren't members. Before you do go, I just wanted to say that you may be aware that we have got some donations collected together. Some donations in Jean's memory, which at the moment stand at £425. Some of those donations have come from members from people who were at Jean's funeral. And some of those donations have come from a very kind donation from Munster, and also from donations from individual members. If anybody would like to make a donation and hasn't had the opportunity, you can go onto our website and there's a link there. If you go onto the page about Jean, there's a link there which will tell you how to do it. And if you haven't, if that's completely confusing, then just email Jane, who will have sent you the Zoom link for tonight, and she can send you the details. You can do it as a bank transfer if you want to do it like that, or we can sort it out. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.